Hi, I'm going to take a brief look at the various shapes and designs of silicone breast forms that are available on the market today, how you would go about measuring yourself to make sure you get the correct size breast forms for you, and also later on in the video a little bit about the self-adhesive types of breast forms and also how to use medical adhesive glue to attach them should you wish. So stick with me and we're going to go through this section by section. So this first section here, what we're going to be looking at are the basic shapes available on the marketplace today. But I think before I dive into that, what I want to do is just have a quick look at the construction of a silicone breast form, really, in its very basic formats. Now I've taken one here which is fundamentally probably one of the more popular shapes. It's the oval shape, or sometimes called a teardrop. Now if I have a look at this quite closely, really what a silicone breast form consists of is an outer membrane, a bit like a plastic bag really, and the contents inside are hermetically sealed inside, and it is really a high grade silicone in there. So if you understand those basics there, we can really understand why there is a little bit of a variation in the cost of them, because this is a very simple, well made breast form here, but it's got a very shiny sort of membrane around it, and it's got what I call a medium grade silicone in there. It's got good movement to it. This is an economy range, but when we spend a little bit more money on there, what we might have is a little bit more detail in the nipple area around here, and instead of being a shiny type of surface on the membrane, it's more of a matte type of finish. Now people do ask me, are there any breast forms out there that you can attach and maybe put makeup over the top of them and make them look ultra realistic? In my opinion, the simple answer to that is no. It just is not achievable unless you spend thousands and thousands of pounds in making prosthetics, especially for you. You can, on the matte ones, the matte finish ones, probably blend them in a little bit. There are some very good breast forms out there with very, very thin edges around here that do adhere, even self-adhesive ones that are quite good, but it's never as good as the real thing. So for somebody that's looking for what I would call a reasonably well priced product, these economy range ones here, the way they're manufactured with this type of membrane on them and the quality of viscosity of silicone in them, is ideal. And you will find them on the marketplace around about, I don't know, 70, 80 pounds upwards to about 120, 140 pounds a pair, depending on the size of them. So that's a quick run through on the basic construction of them. So just to recap that on the design, it's really hermetically sealed around the edge membrane, full of various grades of silicone in them. And as I said, this primary shape here is the oval shape here that can be worn vertically like so, or it can be worn horizontally with the wing tucked in under your rib cage here, and I think that looks really nice from a sideward view because it looks more natural. The second popular sort of shape is a triangle shape here. Now this particular one, again, it's an economy range with a shiny sort of matte finished, shiny finish, I beg your pardon, membrane, and a little bit of detail on here. It's got more volume going forward from the wall, generally, in other words, from your chest going outwards. And I describe this one really as a sort of supermodel implant design, really. It's a lot of volume coming forward. Again, there are quite a lot of size options on this one, which we'll cover in the next section. So those are the two basic shapes that you see on the marketplace, a triangle and an oval. Now, each of them has their benefits. The triangle has got more volume going forward, whilst the oval has a nice wing on it, making it more natural looking from the side. So it makes a bit of sense that if you were to superimpose the two designs one on top of the other, you come up with a third option, which is generally referred to as an asymmetrical or a classic design, a breast form, and they're the only forms to my knowledge on the marketplace that are left and right handed. So you get the dual advantages of having a design that goes underneath the arm or underneath the rib cage, and also the volume going forward. looking at another shape or another option available on the marketplace, it's maybe not quite so common, but it is becoming more popular these days, is this little beauty here. It's a rather large size for this demonstration, but this is actually a semi-round. It's a semi-round design here, and this particular one is a premium type of breast form, really, because the membrane, the outer membrane here, is manufactured from a matte type finish with it, and it's also got a little bit more detail in the nipple arrangement here, which for some people may be more of an interest. This one is also self-adhering one on it. On the back here you've got a removable type of membrane here, and this is quite sticky, so this one can be worn without a bra. It's self-adhesive, but we're going to cover that a little bit later on. So that's really the fourth option you could have, which is a semi-round version. So just to recap on those, we've just gone through probably the most common one here, which is the oval or teardrop arrangement, through to the triangular arrangement here. The third option would be this superimposed classic range, whereas if we'd laid one on top of the other there. And the fourth one would be this semi-round version of breast form here. So really, which one is good for you will depend on several factors. One of them is your overall build of your chest. What I suggest to people is that if you are somebody that has quite a wide sort of chest from the front on, I generally would go for the ovals, because that will spread the illusion of your chest being slightly smaller around a bit more. If you're quite narrow in the chest and the shoulders, maybe you should consider the triangular ones, because they give a good format. But if you're not too sure, you could always try the classic ones. Now what I want to do now in this section is cover how you measure yourself up to make sure you get the appropriate or the correct size breast forms for you. My little caveat that I always pass on to people is that when you're considering the size, always consider that most garments are made up to a C chest size. So if you decide that you want to be quite buxom, D, double D, E, F, etc., you will have to probably go up at least one or maybe even two size dresses or blouse sizes. So take that into consideration. So how do we start to measure ourselves to find out which is the correct breast forms for us? In this next section, what we want to do is to establish how we size up the breast forms for us. There are two basic pieces of information that we need before we make a selection. So before we get to this area here, we really want to sort of work out what shape we've got. Once we've established that, what we need to do is to take a quick chest measurement, and that measurement is using a tape all the way around our chest across the nipples there. And most manufacturers put their sizes up in both centimeters and inches, but me being a good old-fashioned person, I work in inches. So what you'll find on the screen now is a basic chart or a size chart. The horizontal axis on this chart represents our chest size when measured in inches, whilst the vertical column represents the available cup sizes A to E. Now this range is from a company called Transform, and they manufacture breast forms from size 3 to a size 12. In our example, if we measured our chest at 46 inches and we desired to obtain a D cup, where the two columns intersect, it actually represents the breast form size, which in this case is a size 11 breast form. And selecting your breast form is as easy as that. In this section, what I want to do is to discuss the various options should you wish to have your breast forms attached to yourself or for whatever reason. There are a couple of basic approaches. Some manufacturers of breast forms make self-adhesive breast forms, and that can be in the form of a constant sticky gel that's permanently on the back of the forms, or it could even be a removable pad that's on the back. The third option, if you want to use normal sort of economy breast forms, is to use something like a medical adhesive glue. This one here is Hollister 7730, and it's made for colostomy bags. It's very, very safe. It will not damage the back of your breast forms, what you need to do is to lightly spray onto the back of the form, leave to sit in place for a little while, and then put your breast form in place. It's pretty good. Self-adhesive, I've worn them up to about size 10 or 12 form. They are capable of holding those bigger forms on. If you're wearing quite small forms, probably about a size 4, you can even consider using a double-sided sticky tape, which does work. But with that, what I would recommend is using some sort of alcohol-based product to remove the oils from your skin first, to make sure that you get a good adhesion between your skin and the double-sided tape and the form. So very briefly, that is the options open to you should you wish to use a self-adhesive or have the breast forms attached to yourselves. What I would recommend is, if you do use the Hollister spray or any medical spray to attach the breast forms, make sure that you do take that off, wipe it off with either its sister product, which would be the 7731 medical adhesive remover, or a cheap option and a very good one is a product called Sticky Stuff Remover. But do make sure you do remove it, because it will build up and it will give the back of the form a bit of a crispy sort of feel to it, and it won't be so pliable, and it just, I suppose, reduces the lifespan of your breast form if you don't reduce or take off the medical adhesive accordingly. So I hope you find that of interest and help. Please comment below if you've got any other suggestions about how you adhere your forms, or you found different methods or different forms out there. So we'd love to hear from you. So thank you for watching, and be safe. Bye bye.